Hello, welcome to the Meeple Mentor YouTube channel. I'm Jared, and with me is Holly. And we are going to be talking about Sunrise at the Studio from Pencil First Games. We also reviewed a game called Floriferous on the channel, and this is designed by a lot of the same people who made Floriferous. So there are some similarities, but it is a very different kind of game. This one is all about, you know, drafting cards initially and then using the cards that you get both from ones you've selected and ones that players have given you to basically get the right resources to build out pottery cards. And you've got cubes that are going to be used to kind of indicate on works in project cards that you've used those resources, and then you just kind of play it like every resource card gets dealt out and every resource card is played and used every round. um, so that's kind of like the basis for the game. We're making pottery and getting resources through a draft, and there's like three phases of a given day, and there's 3 days. And each phase you're gonna choose which kind of draft method that you're gonna do on the 4 resource cards that you draw from your personal dealt deck, and those get you put a little token on the one of the 3 ways that you're using the draft, where you can like select a certain number to keep and then pass a certain number left or right. And
You can keep two and pass two, one
mhm,
left, one right. You can keep one and pass one right, I think, and discard the other two.
right.
Or what's the
I
other
think you
one?
keep 3
Yes,
and
and
give 1.
pass one to
Yeah,
the left.
that's like working extra hard or something that day. And
Yeah.
so because people are going to be having to pass you cards, you're going to get eventually the same number of excuse me, cards over the whole day. But you don't know on a given turn what you're going to get or how many cards you're going to end up with. Um, and that kind of becomes part of the challenge because when you complete one of your pottery cards, you go in not turn order, but like a priority order based on the actual completed pottery item. And so you kind of have to ask around and say, okay, what's the highest number? And
It has like
what's,
an initiative number in the top right corner or top
yeah.
left corner.
And whenever you complete, a pottery card, in addition to, getting points for it at the end of the game, you also get to collect a couple different bonuses. And so having first pick of some of the available choices of new cards to collect can be very important. So similar to Floriferous, there are cards that come out at the beginning of the game that are scored as you earn them. So first come, first serve for more points, and then everyone else gets the second most points, if you've achieved it. And we're talking different kinds of pottery or different kinds of resources used in making certain potteries or that sort of stuff. So you're going to look at, what you've done, and if you've met any of those goals, you can claim those. Um, so the order of being able to complete things can be important for that kind of stuff, and making sure that you get the pick that you want of the display of cards. There's like a display of 5 pottery cards to choose from,
Mm-hmm.
and then they also have these useful like small cards that you can gain and use like as a free action, which could be either to just get your resource, like just a random I don't remember what they call it, but like resources set aside, and every 2 is one that you need. You can flip the card over for an immediate effect, or sometimes it'll be an in-game type of scoring card, and sometimes there are even these like special projects which you'd have to then place more resources on to complete those. But even though those are another way to complete cards for points, whatever those are, they don't count towards those bonuses that I mentioned a second ago. Um, what are some of your thoughts on when we played through Sunrise at the studio?
My first thought is that the person directly to my left was playing it backwards because they were giving me everything I needed.
So you don't think they were really looking to see what you were going for at
I
all?
saw them looking.
So you're
So I think
like,
they misunderstood the concept.
okay, wow.
But yeah, that's why I got such a leg up. Other than that, I do like that you have to look around and like see, because there was no way you were getting anything for free.
I did not expect that. I do look and see when I'm trying to pass cards, I'm like, okay, what are they needing and what do
Right.
I have and maybe can I restrict them from getting what I know they want? Right. And so you're saying the person to your left was not playing that way.
No, I was so surprised. And I kept thinking, maybe they're gonna notice, and they're gonna see that I keep doing these big scores, And every time I would pick up the stack of cards, I'd be like, "This is wonderful."
It's like he's played right into my hands. So funny. I had no idea.
Yes, it was so funny, and I didn't want to say anything, because like I don't want to embarrass anybody. Well, I mean, and I was trying to keep it gender neutral too. You never would have known who it was. But you were like, "He."
Well, whatever. There's a lot of.
It was
people.
very funny though. It was very funny.
So did that enhance your enjoyment?
I don't think it affected it so much.
Okay.
I just really like the game.
Okay.
I enjoy the mechanic where you have to decide how many cards you're going to keep and who you're going to give them to.
Right.
I really like that. And I'm always a fan of the mechanic where you make the one action selection and then you can't make that selection again. You have to pick something else.
So thinking about it, the way that it has special drafting, it reminds me of how if you've ever played Hanamakoji, which is a 2-player only game, and there's 4 action tokens, and each of you has to take those 4 actions before a round is over. But the actions you choose,
that might be what it's reminding me of.
end up deciding whether or not you're keeping certain cards or essentially giving some to your opponent and letting them choose from a pool of cards that you decide. It reminded me of that because, like you said, there's these unique drafting actions that everyone has to take at one point in the 3 phases of the day, and it involves deciding what cards are you going to end up giving to your opponents or which opponent in certain cases. So I think that it does it really well, and it's certainly a great way to take that same mechanism and concept into a multiplayer game, more than just 2, obviously.
It also has the mechanic where you have the little, I don't know what you collect in this one, I can't remember.
You got your clay and your
well, you collect
kilns.
something to get to the
the coffee beans.
Yes, coffee beans.
Yes.
To get your little cup of coffee for the 2 extra points at the end of the game, but I kind of feel like it ends up just being a nod to Floriferous.
Yeah. In Floriferous, where you are trying to get the most stones for a cup of tea, this you're trying to get the most coffee beans for a cup of coffee, which is just more points at the end of the game if you're the sole, having the most. Like, there's no tiebreaker.
And there always ends up being a tie every time we've played one of them.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it's quite enjoyable. It's still, it's a small box game, but it's not as small as, say, one of their Pocket Edition games.
Yeah.
So it's still very easy to transport. It's certainly smaller than most board games on my shelf. So it's easy to always find a place for it and don't have to ever, try to get rid of it because it takes up for, too much space. I think it's a great drafting kind of game. It might be a good, second game after Sushi Go if you're trying to teach someone card drafting mechanisms. And I think it's a cool theme. It's not really been done before that I'm aware of, pottery making and all that. And that's the great thing about board games. You can take any hobby or interest.
I was just thinking, I can't art, so this is great for me. So I can make art.
Yeah. If you want to just feel like you're making some cool pieces of art and get to look at the artwork. And I think it's got a lot of cool watercolor designs to it. So I think it's pretty fun. It doesn't take up too much table space, and it plays in about 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a winner. It's definitely one to
I like it.
try.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it. I recommend it. Check it out if you're looking for a new fun drafting game, and you want to look at some cool pottery art as you do so. It's very lightweight, but it can be very strategic. So I think it's a pretty cool game.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So check out Sunrise at the Studio from Pencil First Games. But until the next video, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our new content as it's uploaded, and reviews and tutorials on our channel and that sort of stuff. And wanted to let you know, if you are interested, I wrote a book, which is a board game dictionary, where if you're interested to learn more about modern board game terminology and jargon, you can go to Amazon and check it out. It's called Push Your Luck, the Board Game Dictionary, and I'll put a link in the description of this video for you. But yeah, that's all for us. Thanks for watching. I've been Jared.
I'm Holly.
Bye-bye.